A little different than all the rest. I'm quite old-fashioned where I had sometimes played chess.
Hi friends, welcome back to 50 Weeks of DIY, and this is installment 6 of the series, so thank you so much for coming back if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new. So for a while now, I've been interested in having hanging plants, and you can make them with the same cord that I've been using for all my macrame projects, which I still have a ton of. I think what's been keeping me from doing this project, which I've been thinking about for probably years now, is that it seems like hanging plants usually get hung from the ceiling, and I didn't really trust doing that. I'm afraid of things hanging from the ceiling. Like, have you ever been underneath one of those ceiling fans that's just a little bit rickety and you just think it's gonna fall on you? I don't really want to hang anything from the ceiling. So I finally figured out a way around that, which involves a broomstick and the little metal pieces that you use when you're hanging up a pole in your closet at home. So I ordered those online and I found a broomstick in town for £4. What I did was just balance the same broomstick that I was going to be using to hang the macrame plant hanger and put it in between two chairs. I did use a tutorial to make this, and I did watch it like 3 times, so I feel more practiced than I usually am for a DIY project. I measured out 8 cords total, 2 of which were longer than the others. The 2 longer cords went on the outside, and they would essentially just tie around the rest of the cords in a twist. I think these are called square knots, not sure, but if you tie them all the same direction, then it'll make a twist rather than like a straight line of knots. The tutorial said to make 25 of these, which is what I did. I did this new kind of wrappy knot. I don't actually know the name of it, but I'm sure it's in the tutorial video, which I will link in the description. What you do is take a separate piece of string and you hold one end up against it and make a loop with that, and then the other end, after it's looped, you wrap around the whole thing in circles. And with the end of the string that is not pointing upwards, you just put it through that loop that you initially made, and you pull the other end of the string from the top and bring that knot underneath all of the wraps that you just did. You can then cut off the ends. You just shove that all in with a pair of scissors and it looks really nice afterwards. So once that's done, you group the remaining 12 cords into 4 chord groups that kind of flow in a way that they're all sort of close to each other and that can all wrap around the plants in like a 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock position. I measured about a foot down before I started tying knots, and it's just 2 knots each going in different directions. The next tier of knots was 3 inches down. You tie the exact same types of knots again, you just tie them to each other's groups. Each group of 4 gets divided, and then the groups that are next to each other you have to tie together. Unfortunately, the first time I did this round, I realized that I tied the wrong ones to each other, and that wasn't gonna look right, so I did end up untying these and then retying them again so that it could wrap around the plant nicely. Then another 3 or so inches down, you do another one of these wrapping knot thingies. Yeah, that's definitely the official name of it. Place your plant into the middle of this, and theoretically it should be sturdy enough to hold. However, I didn't really like the look of this. I felt like it was missing a tier of ties. I thought maybe I would just shortcut this and tie them from the top together with like cute little bow ties. I made 4 bow ties around each one. I also wanted to fray the ends of these, which Gracie helped me with, of course. And after all of that, I decided that I didn't really like the look of this. It was just too much and I wanted to be more simplistic. So I untied all my bows. Then I untied the special bottom wrappy knot thingy.
Alright, now we're going to tie a wrapping knot at the bottom of your knot.
And that was actually a little bit harder than it appeared, which is good, I suppose, because it shows that it's actually stronger than it looks. And once I got that off, I just resumed the process of making a 3rd tier. So I just went another 3 inches down and started making knots for a 3rd tier. So I'm making this wrappy knot thingy for the 3rd time in this video, and I have a good feeling about it this time. I feel like it looks more like a net now, and it's not too confusing with all the extra bows. Once I had the plant in it, I was pretty satisfied with the way that it looked, and I thought that I would stop there and not mess with it anymore. And I also decided to fray the bottom of these cords a little bit, just to make it look a little more interesting. I'm glad I didn't cut them in the first place, because I wouldn't have been able to put that 3rd tier on there. So the next step was to measure the distance from wall to wall of my window, and then cut up the broom. I used my clamps to fix it to the table so it wouldn't move around too much. Unfortunately, it still moved around and ended up denting the table a little bit, but fine. It's whatever. I'm going to be redoing this table for a future DIY video anyway, once the weather gets a little better, so I'm not really that bothered about it. My partner did suggest that I use a towel in between the clamps. I didn't do that. But if you want to avoid making dents in your tables when you're using clamps, use a towel in between the clamp and the wood. I shoved the newly cut broomstick into the window, kind of trying to figure out where everything was supposed to go, and accidentally dropped the broomstick and caused a mini disaster. It's fine. They were fine. Everything's fine. I wanted to mark the wall for where these thingies were going to go. My partner helped me screw the first one in, and I also taped a little spirit level onto the broomstick so that I could make sure that this was going to be straight across before measuring where the second one was going to be screwed into the wall. And once that bit was done, what I had to do was loop the plant hanger back onto the broomstick and just set it in place. And the reason that I got these things, oh my god, I'm just gonna look up what it's called because I don't know. Okay, so they're called closet pole sockets. So these were about 5 or 6 pounds off of Amazon, and they are stainless steel. They're supposed to be super heavy duty and they feel it. And this way I can just take this off whenever I want and add other things to it if I so wish. But for now, I think this looks pretty cute. It was exactly what I had in mind. So this is definitely a success DIY. This project took a lot less time than the other ones I've been doing so far. So I do recommend doing something like this if it interests you, because it's not as hard as it looks. I probably made it look harder because I did untie things a few times. I'm very, very indecisive and I never know exactly what I'm doing with these. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I do hope you subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss the next one. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and comment down below. And as always, if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear from you. With that said, I hope that you have a beautiful, wonderful, magical day. Bye!
Drink a little water, feel a little better. You do what you gotta, babe. Breathe a little air. Bring life into your muscles, instinct for a living man. However, there is one